Hey, Star Wars fans and Rule of the Galaxy fans. It is Joe. We are live for chapter 241 of the Rule of the Galaxy podcast. We've got the regular crew here. We've got myself, Alfie, D-Doc, and Brent. And we're going to have a special guest
Daddy,
here, one of my
will you
childhood
get me
friends who's.
pizza?
One
Will you
second
get
there,
me
Azalea.
pizza?
Azalea, I'm going to. Just because you're turning 5, Azalea, doesn't mean you get to run the show. But we will have we'll have our good friend Wayne Bush, who secretly for years has never really talked to me about Star Wars. We've talked about everything else in our lives, but I got him talking Star Wars and the Mandalorian, and I said, heck with it. We're gonna have Wayne on because one, I just like to see and talk to Wayne, but two, just to hear this hidden Star Wars fandom he's got inside. So, again, we're starting chapter 241. I did not prep and have any kind of song for me to sing to start this one, but later on, if I feel it, I'll just start singing when my time comes up.
Wayne,
Um,
hold on. Wayne, how long have you known Joe?
Oh man, it goes back to like the 80s, early 80s.
1985.
Did he
1985.
always have that much energy and spunk to just belt out in song whenever?
It depends on the circumstance. There were many different circumstances that Joe and I have been through, so I'm not surprised by anything that comes from anyone named with the last name of Molinaro.
Fair point. Just checking. Sorry to jump in, Joe. I just had
No.
to with your singing lack of singing chops, but yet coming up with song. I can't
Hey.
say anything because I'm terrible also. But
Did I miss the song?
No, I did not. I'm gonna. Wow. We
that was
will.
perfect, Alfie. You have
That
no
was
idea,
good.
but that was actually perfect timing.
Yes. You know what? If a song pops into my head later, like I said, I'll just belt it out. But we'll go around the room real quick, do intros, and then hop over and intro Wayne. But we'll start with Mr. D-Doc, the guy behind the scenes who keeps all this running. D-Doc, how are things going in your world?
Good. I was telling Alfie before the podcast, I'm stumbling into the new year just because my wife got me that huge Disney Castle Lego set, and when I start building stuff like that, that says the biggest set I've ever got. So it's like 3 bags could take like an hour, 2 hours, and it's like I'm doing like 3 or 4 bags a night, and I'm losing track of time, and I'm not sleeping. And I'm waking up late and I'm getting
Okay.
in trouble. So I'm like, I'm definitely, you get a set like that. It is so hard. You just keep building and building. You like become obsessed with it. It's like, so yeah, that's one little hiccup. I'm going to take the night off from building tonight. Probably.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, no.
D-Doc, you don't just keep building and building.
Oh,
No,
man.
that doesn't happen.
For those of you not watching live on YouTube, Brent is showing off his Star Wars Legion collection that he's hand painted every single thing behind him, pretty much. So,
Too
Yeah.
many I have not.
okay.
I will not claim those. Those Boba Fett and Sabine Wren. It was really early, and I was too intimidated by the paint jobs for both of those and the multicolors.
Okay. All right. Well, Brent, since you popped in, we'll go to you. How are things going on in the Dykeman Castle?
I am still enjoying my break. I don't start up back till Monday, so I can't wait. Yeah, right. Other than that, we are all good. Yeah, I got a couple shelves. Did some building of some Hoth terrain and making some trench runs.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I got those shelves and I didn't realize. I thought I only needed one of them. And yeah, I got about halfway through and I was like, oh shit, I'm going to need another one. And I really out of the collection of people. So the people that play the miniature wargaming, this is a light collection from the people that I've talked to. It's impressive the depravity of my addiction of assembling and painting.
Hey, we all have to have a vice, and we could be all out working the streets right now, but instead we're doing Legos and Star Wars Legion. So, speaking of working the street, Alfie, how are you?
I'm doing great. I took a nice vacation from the streets, got centered back, into real life for about 11 days. I back to work yesterday, so that was kind of a shock because I'm like D-Doc. I'm a night owl. I got really addicted over Christmas break to playing this power washing simulator game. I don't know why.
That sounds like work. How is that a game?
Power washing
It's just
simulation.
No, there's
game.
just something satisfying about it. You just start washing stuff and you can't stop.
Okay.
I mean, it's like the most dad of video games that there could be. But
I played that game, Alfie.
isn't
There
it
was
good?
There was like a woodworking one, and where you would put things on a lathe, and you would have to like cut out pieces from a lathe that
Yeah.
I played for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we got a
You got
comment
it.
from Stephen Kent here. It's a
Stephen
hard
Kent.
life being able to collect Legos and live stream Star Wars talk. We are lucky. I agree.
Stephen,
I
thank you
agree.
for joining in. Yes, 100%. We are lucky guys. And speaking of being lucky, I tell you what, I can say this. I'm a lucky guy who, as Wayne mentioned earlier, 1985, I remember sitting in the bleachers of Southport Fieldhouse, and he and I talking about the Adidas shoes we were wearing as we were getting ready for basketball practice or something like that. And I've been just, this guy is like a brother to me, and he has been, gosh, what is that? 1985 to now. That's, how long is that, guys? My math.
A few decades.
Yeah, 40 years. Yeah, almost 38 years. We've been pals. But Wayne Bush is joining the show. Wayne, so glad to have you on. This is your first time here, episode 241. Believe it or not, your first time on. So, how are things going up in Michigan? And just how you doing?
You know what, Joe, life is good, and kudos to us and everyone else that has the opportunities to have long-term relationships like we've had. Very thankful to have you and all the others in our lives that we get to have fun with, whether it's with Star Wars or Legos, which I'm a big fan of, or anything else going on in life. You know, life is good. Cannot complain.
Well, that's good. That is good to hear. I appreciate you being here. And yeah, we'll get a little crazy into our Star Wars talk, but we definitely want to talk to you and get some feedback from you on what got you into Star Wars, how long you've been a fan, what some of your favorites are, and everything like that. But I will say this before we start: I have been really enjoying doing. I've created some small like top 10 lists and things like that I've been doing on our YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to go check those out, you can. But been loving the comments and the feedback on them. John, I don't want to mispronounce your last name, but John Infield, it looks like Enfield. He has been giving us some great comments on our YouTube channel this week. So thank you for doing that. And you know what? He's a huge fan, and he'd never heard of the Christmas in the Stars album. So he was really excited to hear about that. But it's been great to do those, and just fun. And honestly, it's really opened my eyes to things that I haven't thought about in forever. Like I was putting together top 10 lists of, characters and aliens and bounty hunters. And I started going, well, wait a minute. I remember these old comics I used to look at. I'm going to go back and look at those. And then I'm going to go look at some of the old books. And I probably have some notes of some of my favorite things. And so I've got like 6 other lists here of things that I've pulled up that I'm going to create these on. So really looking forward to doing that. It's just fun to do. But while doing those, our good friend of the show, Scott Rifen, for the people who have been paying attention, has sent me 1983 Return of the Jedi cards. Actually, they were still in the wrapper. And I said, the heck with it. I'm opening them because what good does it do to have a wrapped package of ball cards sitting in my office? And also, the Topps gum.
You gotta eat it.
You gotta eat it.
Eat
1983.
it. Eat it.
I don't think that
Those
tastes
that
like
can
chicken. No.
But the smell, and I think it was was one of our followers, and I apologize that I didn't write it down who it was, but somebody said it was either Michael Nip or it was who was the guy who was on our show?
Adam Parker.
Adam Parker. One of those two said they need to make a scented candle of this Topps baseball gum that goes in the packs and everything, because that would be fantastic.
Joe,
Expired Topps baseball gum.
Did you record yourself opening up those packs?
I did.
Yes.
All right. Is
thank
that on the
God.
channel?
You're
It
Yes, it is.
Okay, I hadn't seen that one. Like, so I'd seen some of the other ones come through, and I haven't got a chance to watch those.
See
But-
now, Joe, if you're unboxing a 1983, if you're opening a 1983 Star Wars pack,
Yeah.
throw me a text and I will make you a thumbnail for that. I didn't know that even happened. I missed that on the channel. I gotta
I'm
watch
sorry.
that.
Come on, guys.
Azalea actually was the one who told me about it. She
Thank
watched it before I did.
I watched a guy the other day opening like 1980s NBA cards, and he opens them up and is just like, everyone says not to eat the gum. I always do, and he just throws it right in his mouth, man, and
No.
he's crunching it. I'm like, dude, that is gross.
Is that made by the
Add it
same
on the
company that makes Zebra Strike guns back in the day?
Probably. I had one piece that came broken and one piece that's still.
Those are the
old.
best ones.
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping them.
Joe, you're missing out.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Like,
Here's
you'll
what we'll
go
do.
into a time. Have you ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yes.
There's the Topps Gum Time Machine. Your brain will just zone back into like 8-year-old, 12-year-old you. You gotta try it.
If
here's
you're
what
not
we're
going to do it, the next time we're together, I will chew the gum. And you
Okay,
can
well,
record it.
here's what I'll do. If
And
someone
dial
in the
9
chat
and a 1 first.
who's watching the show wants to start donating to the show, put some dollar amounts in the chat, and when it gets to the right dollar amount, I'll eat it all right here in front of you. I don't even care. You know what?
Well, you just chew gum, right? You don't actually eat it.
Oh, my
Come on,
bad.
you gotta
Chew
swallow
the
it.
gum.
Because here's the deal. This is like Bubblicious. You take like 2 chews and it's gonna lose its flavor. Then once it's lost its flavor, you gotta swallow it. Who spits it out?
Still has a little powder coating on it. It's
By the
still-
way, while you're
That's
doing
good.
that, like my least favorite thing is chewing gum in class because I was a classroom teacher for a number of years.
Mhm.
And the number one, when I tell kids to spit it out, the number one response is, but it still has flavor.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry that you still have flavor. Get rid of it. So, anyways, or
no,
swallow it. Either way.
I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, I'll tell you what. We have a guest here, and we might as well just use up all this energy
Oh,
we're
boy.
getting from our guests. So, Wayne, let's go
Yes.
back in that Star Wars bubblegum card time machine here. When did you become a fan of Star Wars? When did you? I mean, 1977. Were you sitting there in line, ready to go and go check that out, or when did this all happen for you? Where you started following the Star Wars?
Well, to my recollection, honestly, being that young, born in 71, and then the movie comes out when I'm 6,
Mhm.
it's just another movie. It's like a science fiction movie when you're going. And I remember the day I went with my aunt and my cousins, and we snuck popcorn in the brown bag, and my aunt had the big UPS, United States parcel bag with all the candy in it and all the stuff in it. And we snuck the food in and everything. But I remember the initial dialogue of the words going up on the screen, and I was hooked. I mean, it was a classic from day one. I mean, they were doing things that every kid that was 6 years old or young wished we could do at home.
Right.
A lightsaber? Give me a lightsaber. How do I make a lightsaber? Where do I buy that? And then it just took off from there. So
It's funny because we started talking about Mando. That's what really made it to where you and I said, hey, I need to have you on the show. But you and I, because we're the oldest ones on this show, believe it or not, D-Doc's like a year older than Joey. So
wow.
yeah, I know, very diverse here. But you and I got through all that Star Wars, right? We had Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi, all in
All
those
of them, that's
formative years
nice.
of our lives.
Yeah.
But when you and I first started connecting in 1985, Star Wars was in that dark area, right? Like it went silent, And so I think you and I growing up together as 14, 15, whatever year olds, that was never something that we even would bring up because I don't even remember talking about Star Wars that much during our high school years because one, we were either trying to play a sport, trying not to flunk out of school, trying to chase girls and drive cars. Star Wars wasn't in the forefront of what we were doing.
Oh, it's all
So-
of the above. And then also during the 80s, we had some of the classic movies of all time,
Yep.
16 Candles. You can just list off all the great movies that are still classics to these days. So Star Wars wasn't the end all be all, but to Star Wars, attrition, they've made it. They've been here from day
Yep.
one, and they've run through their bad side of, the first 3 episodes. I call it the bad side, and then they come back out with new stuff that's, some of it, in my opinion, was really good, and some of it was not so good. But they stand the test of time. ET's not here. I mean, they had their little sticky finger and they were done. But Star Wars is a true world classic.
Oh, I love it. So I guess another question I'll ask you. You have two daughters, both in what? One's almost 20 and one's in her mid-20s, right?
Yes, correct. No, one's 18 and one's in the mid-20s. Yeah.
Okay. But did you have them check out Star Wars, and did you take them like as they were growing up and the new stuff was coming out? Did you, like with the new movies and then like Mando and stuff on Disney Plus, did you kind of pass that on to them and say, hey, I grew up on this, you need to check this out?
So yeah, I'm not a ultra uber Star Wars fan, but I do appreciate everything Star Wars. I don't know the history like you guys do by any means whatsoever, and all the names, and I definitely don't have anywhere close to the Legos as my man down here. But the generations of the children coming up now, they either like it or they don't, it seems like.
Mhm.
And I've been pushing it not only on my children, but also my friends of all ages, saying, hey, if you haven't tried it, check it out. It's a good trilogy and it's a good series moving forward. But it's just not everyone catches on. My girls did not catch on to it. They're like, but then there's Harry Potter and there's NCIS, it depends on what you want to watch. There could be anything. We have so many things to choose from. Not everybody's into, light speed. So it is what it is.
Okay, good. But am I not mistaken? You said one of the main reasons you got Disney Plus was because of the opportunity to watch things like Mandalorian,
Absolutely.
things like that. So what is that pretty much on Disney Plus? Is that kind of your go-to? Like you could sit there and throw Mandalorian on and watch any of those 3 seasons on there, or do you like some of the other stuff, or have you had a chance to check out some of the other series that have come out on there?
I basically stuck to the hot stuff, which is the Mandalorian on the Disney side. I have watched the other movies and series that have come out also, but at the same time, the Mandalorian was the hot thing that I like to try to follow on a regular basis.
Is there any chance you think you would ever cosplay and get that outfit of the Mandalorian? Come on, the chrome look, you'd be looking sweet in that.
No, I am not a cosplayer. No, I don't even like Halloween. Nah, I leave that to you guys. Y'all can go out to Vegas, take a lot of pictures, dressed up with each other, and all good. It's all good.
Okay. Well, I will tell you, we've actually been to some conventions, some events and things. None of us did any cosplay. We
What?
showed
That you
up.
know of.
What?
Okay, that we
there's
know
pictures
of.
out there. You just haven't seen them.
I mean, who am I going to cosplay? Jabba the Hutt?
Oh, there's lots of characters. You could be
Well, Brent-
you could be a sand person. You could be
I mean, there was at the ICC there was actually
Yeah.
501st Sand person, and went through and took off it was a fencing helmet that they put all the stuff on the top of. But yes, it's intense what they go through for that 501st. But no,
Oh yeah.
We have plenty of time to plan cosplays for ICCC this year, fellas. We got
October.
plenty
Give me a
of
theme.
time.
Give me a theme.
Alex ready.
Rancor Keeper.
Well, there's
Oh,
only
that's-
one. How are we all gonna, complete
Oh,
that?
so we're all going. So I could go as the Rancor, and you could be the Keeper.
Oh,
I'll be Cal Kestis easy. That's easy for me.
You would.
Yeah, I can easily pull that off.
or you could be.
And Joe's Obi-Wan. I think we've already established this. Joe was born to be a cosplayer of Obi-Wan.
Okay.
I
can see
agree.
it. I
And there's
will-
only so many chips in that cookie of
Probably
Star
not the
Wars,
episode
so
2 Obi-Wan, though. I
No,
don't
wait.
think
I
you
only
pull off
got
the
a few
hair.
people to
Hold
choose
on.
from.
Hold on. Did you hear what he said? There's only so many chips in the cookie. He has less people to choose from, he said.
I mean, you have Kelleran Beck and you got Mace Windu at this point. I mean,
Lando Calrissian.
Lando,
Yeah,
Lando.
come on,
Damn,
Colt
I forgot
45.
Lando.
Finn. You're gonna forget about Finn?
Yeah,
Finn,
you
it
got
was in the
Finn.
later movies. Yep.
But then
Yeah.
all you got to do is say Ray. Like, I mean, you don't even have to wear anything. Just yell Ray.
I'm going with the simple one, a stormtrooper. You'll never know it's me.
There you
Okay.
go.
Wayne, I'm not sure I've ever told you, but on my 50th birthday,
I'm sorry, I missed that. Sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. You do live in Michigan. I live in Indiana, and we have children and all that. So it's
Excuses. My bad.
Oh, Michael Nitt brings up Wilro Hood from Empire Strikes Back, the guy who carried
Yes,
the ice cream.
there's another one there. See,
Yes,
It's not an
small
ice cream.
chip.
It's a safe. It's not an ice cream machine.
yes, the Camtono or whatever. But yeah, some of my friends and some of my relatives chipped in, and they talked Billy D. Williams into doing one of those cameos for me. So I have a recording.
Oh
of
no,
Billy
I saw
D.
that. I
Okay.
saw it. I saw it. Yeah,
Alright.
that was awesome.
Absolutely. Oh man,
You
now they're
make it
bringing
sound like we called him and asked.
Wayne. They're bringing all the chips out in the cookie right now in our chat.
Oh
Is
yeah.
there more than
Grief
20?
Karga, Mace Windu, Saul Guerrera, Captain Panaka. They're
All
they're
right,
going to
so
bring.
now I
in-
gotta go to Vegas. Damn it.
Panaka. Panaka would be a good one.
Yeah, that's
Oh
a good
my
one.
God.
And then who was his replacement in episode 2?
Starts with a T,
Yes.
doesn't it? Like,
Captain Tythos or something like that,
Something like
or yeah,
That's a
I'd have to
badass
look-
rebel pilot from Rogue One.
Yes, and there were some pilots. There were some pilots in Force Awakens that were chips
In the
Wayne,
cookie.
as you like to say.
Pilot
we
from
go.
Return of the Jedi who took out the Superstar Destroyer.
See, we're all over the place, man. We've got a little bit of everything.
well, hold on though. Anakin Skywalker's in our chat. I just want you guys to know that. And
I
I'm
know,
wondering,
I'm trying to remain calm.
I'm wondering, is this the same Anakin Skywalker that was playing for Ole Miss?
It
Uh,
doesn't.
based
look
upon the
like
picture,
it.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Anakin. We appreciate you
But-
being here.
Which
for the
was where I
support.
was trying to. I was trying to maybe segue a little bit. Like, did you guys? I mean, you guys saw that, correct?
Yes.
That he
No.
did. Like, he did eye
Yeah, that was
black.
badass.
Oh,
Yeah, so-
Jackson Dart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever his name
he
is.
does.
Yeah.
He does the eye black down his one eye, and he said he's always done that because he's a fan of Anakin Skywalker and the prequel trilogy of Star Wars. And he says
Really?
Did you
he
didn't
says
see
he
that one?
taps into that every game.
I did not know that's
ESPN
why he did it.
ESPN put up side by sides of him and Anakin Skywalker. Like they leveraged it for a little bit during that game.
It's pretty cool. I'm efforting. I'm asking Joey to help me get Jackson Dart on the show. So
Yeah, did
I'll-
Miles
I'll-
Turner ever call us back?
Miles Turner has not called us back.
That dude.
we have reached out.
That
but
is one tall Han Solo.
yes.
So talking about cosplay and chips in the cookie. So the Indianapolis Pacers have a Star Wars night.
Indiana.
Indianapolis, whatever. They have a Star Wars night. Just like it seems like every team and every sport is having a Star Wars night. It's a way to get the 5-0 first and try to get people out. But Miles Turner is a huge Lego fan. I've watched a video where like he has probably 75 of the big models and is also a very big Star Wars fan. So every year when they do the Star Wars night, like last year he came in dressed as Darth Vader, a 7'2" Darth Vader, and he had an assistant next to him dressed like this year was Princess Leia's also.
Yep.
But he was he had stormtroopers following him last year. So this year he was a 7'2" Han Solo with like legit tailored blue pants with the red stripe down the side, looking just like from the first time you see Han Solo. It was cool.
He's done a little bit of everything. No, Joey has interviewed him in the past, and he pulled out like his Star Destroyer, his Falcon, all that he did in Legos. So yeah, I think he'd be a really good one to have on. It's in season for some of these people, it's very difficult. I know because Joey, he's been good enough to say, hey, I will reach out to this guy or that guy, whatever. But he said, like Cam Hayward of the Steelers, a big Star Wars fan. Ian Happ of the Cubs, big Star Wars fan. Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, big Star Wars fans. That'll be like, what are you going to do? Hey, don't worry about practice this week. Just come on the show and talk Star Wars, right? They don't usually jump at that. So it'll definitely be something we effort in the off season. But I'm loving the chats here. D-Doc, I just sent you. We had Anakin Skywalker saying, hello, rule the galaxy. And then we had Nina Williams from Tekken 8, also known as Luke Skywalker, said, Father. So we have Anakin.
And then Captain Rex tells us, yes, it is your father.
So we've got some great comments going on. And to Stephen Kent, Michael Nip, Dark Wars, the podcast, Travis Mitchell, everybody who's joined in, thank you so much for chatting up. We appreciate it. I will say, as we go on, and Wayne, just chime in whenever and listen to our silliness, but not a ton going on in the Star Wars universe from the end of Ahsoka to now until the next series comes up. And I don't even think we have a due date, do we, for the next show to hop on Disney Plus?
They keep pushing Acolyte and not Acolyte. What's the other one? Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
So you know what that means. Whenever there's nothing going on in Star Wars, they bring out the Mortal Kombat guy, and he just says "fight," and then everyone just starts arguing with each other on Twitter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Social media
Absolutely.
becomes a cesspool when there's nothing on Disney Plus or at the theaters. We need to really, yeah.
We're all we're mostly sports fans here, and locally, it's the Pete Rose effect, man. All you have to do is say, should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? And you would get an hour of people complaining on one, supporting and complaining. And that's where we're at right now. We're in that,
it's
Pete
like
Rose.
that when there's stuff out. You guys just not been on the internet when there's a series or a movie out?
Yeah, but at least you can quiet some of that noise and have a different conversation.
Well, to actually go in a positive direction, I did pull up one story that I think was a positive direction. Good friend of the show, Mark Newbold on Fantha Tracks, he put up, they actually did a poll at the end of 2023. So just in the last few weeks, they did a poll to a number of people, and it asked, what is the best fandom? What's the biggest fandom out there in the movie world, right? So number 10 was Avatar. Number 9 was James Bond. Number 8 was Dune. 7, Jurassic Park. I think I've got the numbers right. 6, Hunger Games. 5, DC Expanded Universe. Number 4, Marvel, the MCU. Number 3, Harry Potter. Number 2, Disney in general, all the Disney movies and films. Number 1, still in 2023, which the last film hasn't even been out. Hasn't come out. Well, the last one was in 2019. Star Wars, the number 1 fandom out there. So,
hey Joe, it was on Fantha Tracks, which
I
is
don't think
Star Wars.
I don't think he did it. I think he pulled it from somewhere else.
Okay,
it was
because
a
I
poll
was
that
going to
was out
say
there.
there's a little bit of bias for the Star Wars fandom if you're polling Star Wars fans for what's the most important fan base.
I understand. I think he grabbed it from somewhere else.
In that case, you heard me probably say it. How did Dune?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
How does that?
You are aware that there's like 25 books.
No, we watch movies. I'm not reading.
Wayne's my hero. Wayne, you just solidified everything I talk about on this podcast.
I understand that we just watch movies, but as a fan base, there's a gigantic Dune fan base for the books themselves.
It must be on tape.
The one that I didn't hear, though, the one that surprised me that I don't think I heard, did Lord of the Rings make that?
No. I was wondering that. Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
I will gather the Lord of the Rings fans to fight the Hunger Games fans. That's what I'm going to do.
I just think that's recency bias, though. That's also recency bias because, Dune just came out with movie number 1. They're getting ready to make movie number 2.
And
Hunger Games.
Timothée Chalamet in it too. So.
And Hunger Games is right now, they just released the prequel that they just had out. So that's But I mean, they're the books were good. I read the first 2.
Wait, hold on a second. What did you just say?
Yeah, you're going against what our
I know, but here's the deal.
What happened?
Here's the deal. I did read the first 2.
In jail for a while?
And then the Maze Runner. I read some of the Maze Runner series as well.
Wow.
But no, like it's very few books that I read, Alfie. But yes, we watch movies.
I did
Okay.
all 3 Hunger Games books, and the 3rd book I give a thumbs
So,
down. So
Okay.
I do think it's interesting that Lord of the Rings did not make that
Yeah,
list.
I would think
Yeah, that's
even just
weird.
from a literary sense, that
Yeah.
would have a huge fan.
Well, I
I-
mean,
I didn't
Think
realize Dune had as many books as that. I thought it was just like I thought it was in the realm of the Game of Thrones.
My mouse pad is a map
Yeah,
of
Game of
Middle
Thrones
Earth.
wasn't on there. That's kind of
Wow.
That's
interesting.
true, too.
Look at that mouse pad.
Yeah, it's Middle
But
Earth.
I would have put Dune in the Game of Thrones. I know Game of Thrones has like what 5 or 6 books with the Song of Ice and Fire,
It has
and
5.
he's
so
he's
far.
in the process of writing 6.
Has been for 15 years.
Yes.
so yeah. Well,
MCU at 4 too. That's interesting as well.
the MCU boys, it's just fade
It's
away a
taking-
slow
that-
death.
Last year really took a toll on the MCU.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wayne, what are there Marvel movies or characters that are your favorites? Are there some superheroes you like or DC?
You know,
Yeah.
is that for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that question because over the holiday break, we had all the family and the kids running through the house and stuff, and next thing you know, we're just watching movies, which typically happens. And some of the
Mhm.
movies, some of the people haven't seen, like my daughter, my youngest hadn't seen some of the ones, and her boyfriend was saying, "Hey, we got to watch this." So we were watching we were watching Captain America in the second one with Captain America, and then we were watching Iron Man. And
Mhm.
I hadn't seen the last Iron Man yet. I just hadn't gotten around to it. And all the Iron Man are great series, but I gave up on all of that when they start having good guys fight good guys. I'm like, nope, I'm done watching.
Civil War.
That does not make any sense whatsoever. And then I tried to watch Loki. I couldn't keep track of what the hell's going on. Y'all send me forward. Y'all send me
Wayne,
back.
I
Who
think
are
we're the
these
same
people?
person, Wayne.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Legit feel the same way about that show.
I gave up. I cannot do it. No, I'm not doing
Too
it.
much.
No.
Too much. Too
Take
much.
me back to the cartoon days of, the Justice League, and I'm good.
Oh, yes.
Can I get some Wonder Twin powers? They will activate.
Yes. Form a bucket of ice water.
Boom, put out the fire.
There we go. Wayne, there's a great, actually, one of the guys who really motivated Joey and I to start this podcast. Steve Lawson runs a podcast called Geek Out Loud, and he plays the Justice League theme music into and out of every show. It just gets me pumped every time going. I'm like, because it's like an upbeat with a banging drum going in it. Oh, every time I'm just like, oh yeah, I love it. Little superhero
Yeah, you guys
stuff.
got to add some walk-up music to when you guys come online. You know, you got to have
Well,
some theme music.
We
When
do
you
on
go
the
live
podcast.
online, yeah. so if you
That
go to the
one really
podcast-
hurts, Wayne.
Yeah,
I haven't
mean,
been there.
Like,
I'm new.
You're right. You haven't been here, but you have no idea where we've come since we've introduced D-Doc
Yeah.
into this world.
Yeah,
His TikTok.
We have graphics now.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, D-Doc, throw something live
We
up
are-
on there right now.
we
Grab
are
a picture,
actually
throw it up
live.
live. Yeah,
We are actually live. Like, used to just be us sitting around, and then maybe a week later it comes out.
Yeah,
The
we
internet
change our,
froze all the time.
change our backgrounds to
oh, see, you were,
the Scarab
go.
or
Nice.
the Death Star. Well, that's an ugly looking one, actually. I just
Well,
keep
you know,
it in hyperspace.
it's a testament to what you guys have been doing for all these episodes because you do have a big fan base. I was listening to Cat Williams. He was talking to Shannon Sharp today on one of the little TikTok things, and he
That
said,
was awesome. 30 minutes of. If you
I
have
haven't watched
time,
all of it. It's
if
great.
you have time,
It's
the 30 minutes of him just going on a rant was just
It's
deep
amazing.
and wow.
That
But
he
go ahead,
burned
continue,
some people to the ground. But one of the things he said was, we're entertainers and we're only good as the people that support us. So, we can get up to a high level, but you got to remember who you work for. They'll bring you back down real quick.
Oh, yeah.
That's a very good point. So you
I
guys have a
agree.
great audience. It must be you're doing something well over the time.
I think Alfie has said it very well in the past. We're kind of just a running shit show, but we're an entertaining running shit show to where people
We're the
like.
best of the shit shows.
That's right. They go. We could go listen to these guys and just laugh for like an hour, that's great. That's so we don't try to be the smartest. We don't try to be the one who knows all the answers. We definitely don't have the insight to a lot of the Hollywood connections. While we have had some really big name people on the show, don't get me wrong. We're not the ones that Lucasfilm's calling and saying, "Thank you, Michael."
Shout out to Michael.
Yeah, but they're not banging on our door saying, "Hey, do you guys want to interview the next lead in this movie?" It doesn't happen. But
Wait a minute, you guys
You're getting
not telling
those?
Disney no?
oh, okay,
I thought that was what we were supposed to do.
okay. Well, no, I haven't. No, well, we won't get to the Disney topic yet, Alfie, because I know how much you're looking forward to talking about that. But Brent brought up a good topic today, and Wayne, believe it or not, even though you say, "Hey, I'm not this super ultra fan," I think this is one that you could get into an answer on this as well. Brent, what was the topic you brought up today in the
Yeah, so
text chain?
scrolling those interwebs, there was some forum that was posted, and it was I didn't look at the comments or responses, but it made me stop and think, and I think it'd be a great discussion. So the comment was from a Star Wars fan and said that Star Wars is a genre. It is not a setting. So I had to clarify for the boys what that means is it's not just the physical setting. It's not just the universe. It's a genre. So what do you feel? How does that hit you? Marinate on it. What are your thoughts?
Alfie, go ahead. You were going to start, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that 100%. I think, if you go back to when Star Wars came out, there was a lot of people who didn't like Star Wars because it wasn't real science fiction, is what they said. Which it wasn't. It was dirty. It wasn't, the bright, shiny, plastic, metal science fiction. There is this kind of genre that Star Wars created. There's the Arthurian legend that's built into Star Wars. There's the Japanese samurai films, the Westerns, the space battles were shot by shot recreations of World War II footage, pretty much. You can look at the prequels and say, well, this is, influenced by Greek mythology. And I think that's really the difference that we see in the sequels and The Mandalorian. I think there's not really anything that you can pick out of the sequels as far as that influential genre. Whereas when you watch Mando, you see, man, Filoni and Favreau get that samurai influence. They get that spaghetti Western influence. So it feels like you could just drop it right into the slot of the timeline without really having to make some big concessions to the story. And I think that's where I think the sequels kind of fall flat, is that they don't have that feel of being able to connect Anakin Skywalker to, some Greek stories, or being able to, all of Padme's outfits. I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes where it shows, the historical time periods of these great female leaders and the way they dress, and they look at like exactly the way that Padme was presented through the prequels. So
So is that a
it is
genre?
kind of a tough thing to
does that make it a
pinpoint.
genre?
I think so, because that's what really separated Star Wars from all the other stories that were being told at the time. Is people could see all the little different bits and pieces that were influential and find something that they like.
Well, I'll give you a question to put you in a conundrum in a friendly way. Is Star Trek considered a genre also?
I wouldn't say so, because to me, Star Trek fits more into that traditional science fiction slot.
I see where you're going with that, and I I like both the question and the answer there, because sorry, I hate it. I don't have a good mute button, so you're getting me clear my throat. But I think if you look back into science fiction and you go back to Flash Gordon, Star Trek, 2001, A Space Odyssey, all those things, as Alfie said, science fiction is robotic, clean, space age, and it's it's more about humans going and exploring away from Earth, right? Things like that. It all fits into that. Star Wars takes it to where you have the dirtiness, like it's a lived-in society, it's a lived-in world and universe, but then you're also bringing in those other things, like how many Greek mythology kind of things or Arthurian stories are in those other science fiction. So I think science fiction is a genre, as you said, Brent, but Star Wars kind of took that and said, we're going to make our own genre based off of some of that and some of these other things. And so we're a hybrid of all these things coming together into one. I don't know if that fits or not. So D-Doc.
Yeah, and when you're saying genre, obviously, like the definition of Star Wars being different is it's its own category. It's in a league of its own, correct? When it comes to a type of film, like you're saying, like say it's science fiction, action movie, drama, Star Wars. Like Star Wars is its own genre. And am I correct in that? I just don't want to be an idiot.
That's
with my
essentially the
Luke-
way that it's the way it
Lucas
came
would say
across.
that. He would say it's a space opera, right? It's not science. Lucas has always said it's not science fiction. Yeah. So
Like I agree, because have any of you guys watched Rebel Moon on Netflix?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
personally, like, I watched that and I know that it was possibly going to be a Star Wars movie and it was scrubbed, and that's why
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder went and made
Snyder.
his own movie that was kind of like his script for a Star Wars movie. But I watch it and I'm just like, these ships are boring. The planets to me are boring. Like Star Wars has always been a league of its own when it comes to the planets, when it comes to the ships, when it comes to the droids, when it comes to the aliens. Everything just looks so uniquely Star Wars when you see it. Which is why Andor is a controversial show, because a lot of the settings looked very science fiction in that show. It didn't feel like Star Wars sometimes. It felt like Blade Runner more so.
well, in that prison, I felt like I was in Star Trek in the prison scenes.
Yeah.
It just felt clean, neat, futuristic, things like that. So
I would say the sequel trilogy was way more of that as well. Like, I mean, and I'm not, this isn't like for the hate on that. I think the lived in part, but then I also go to the prequels. The one thing that I noticed when we did those rewatches way back when was that, like, at least Phantom Menace was really bright and shiny and clean. It really struck me with how clean it was versus the lived-inness of 4, 5, and 6. That, and then so I think some of the sequel trilogy, like at least the ships and where you're going, and heck, what was the most recent one? Ahsoka. All of the New Republic stuff has that clean and squeaky clean kind of feel that I don't know if I necessarily. I think it's missing that lived-in feel. But to go back to it, like Alfie, everything you're saying, I definitely agree with. But does that make it a genre? Because here's the deal: like everything that you described is what makes it its own universe, as well.
Right, but I think that's where new ideas get kind of lost in, is that they don't connect to the things that made that genre possible in the first place. I think Andor worked because it was very relatable with everyday kind of characters. You're seeing like the C and D tier of the rebellion, the people doing the behind the scenes stuff, the everyday people. I think without that hitch to the old samurai films, the spaghetti westerns, the ancient myths and legends, that you get lost away from that Star Wars genre.
Wayne, what do you did you watch Andor?
Yeah, just parts of it though. I didn't get to see the whole thing.
Because you fell asleep?
It was bad. I didn't like it.
All right, so we divert a little bit on that one, or it's okay. It's okay.
Okay,
And it's fine. Different.
But
No, it is.
folks.
No, it is. I was just making
Yeah.
the fact that him and I are basically the same person, but now we kind of split a little bit. Like, we're not fully the same person
There's
now.
more
Like,
to
we're
come. But there's more.
Wayne, we've all asked this question around the horn, and we've asked other people on there. Do you feel that Star Wars needs to have not like thrown in your face all the time, but that mixture of that mystic fantasy with the Jedi and the Sith mixed in to make it more like Star Wars, or is it okay to not have that much? I mean, lightsabers are. We were just talking about it when the show was starting. Being able to pull out a lightsaber and hear that noise and see that coming across the screen, I mean, does that play a role in the Star Wars, or do you feel like it can go without it?
What I've seen over the last 10 years or so is one, it's hard to keep the story going. The story is written and then try to make it into a movie. It's very, very hard. I don't care who you are. It's very, very hard to because we as humans expect more and technology gets better and better. But to contradict that, Mando came out and they hit it out the box. They hit a home run. And I still gotta keep watching it. I mean, though Mando is a must see because it goes back to what Alfie and you guys were saying. It has a lot of the old history still involved with it. It's clean to me. I mean, when I first saw the dark saber, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, "Ooh, I'm getting kind of moist. That's exciting." But you don't see that in some of the other shows.
Right.
Mando has some. Their writers get it. Their writers have it, and that's what I think was made Star Wars better than the other shows. It's the writing and the producing and making of the actual movies. Because it could have been Star Wars, it could have been Battlestar Galactica. Lucas was the one to make it right.
Okay. Which, by the way, as a 7-8-year-old kid, it still was fun to turn on TV and see Battlestar Galactica since we couldn't see Star Wars at home. I love Battlestar.
I just love that somebody else is bringing up Battlestar Galactica because I loved that show when I was a kid.
I mean,
It was Star Wars light.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got R2D2, you got Twiggy. I mean, they were hand in hand.
We got I think wasn't it we talked about this. Some of the guys who helped make Star Wars jumped ship, right? And went over to help
I
make
didn't know that.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
The model makers and the effects guys.
Didn't they lose their jobs over doing that, I think?
Yeah, some of the
Wow.
guys took off and did that because, and you can see, as you mentioned before, on the shot by shot with like World War II planes, you can see some of the Battlestar Galactica flight stuff it's the same shot of what they did with X-wings, except with the fighters from
Exactly
Galactica.
right.
So, but yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's fun to have these diversions, and we do nitpick on here from time to time, Wayne, but I mean, we love it. I mean, if we didn't love it, we wouldn't have done 241 episodes, right? I mean, we're here talking about all this. So, not because it's a Star Wars show, but I really think, here it is, however many hundreds of years later, and we still talk about King Arthur and his court, right? We still talk about things that stood the test, Robin Hood, right? I mean, those kind of things will be here hundreds of years from now. Star Wars is the same kind of thing. 200 years from now, somebody's going to go, look at this story that came out in 1977. They're going to be like blown away to think about that and still talk about it. So I think that's where it kind of stands on those kind of levels.
I'm picturing someone in the year like 20 whatever year, hundreds of years from now, saying, and then Ryan Johnson came in and Luke Skywalker.
And they killed Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker was a hero, but sir, didn't he turn to hate? Like, didn't he go and live in isolation because he tried to kill his nephew?
Man,
we ignore the sequel trilogy. I don't know why I'm talking like it's medieval times, hundreds of years from now.
Well, it's like you're talking like it's a British documentary.
Yeah,
in the future.
Maybe
we need Glosson here. He could be doing Attenborough right now, doing
Yes, that would be perfect.
Yes.
It'll be an AI.
Monty Python coming out.
Yeah.
Monty Python.
Yeah, it's going to be a droid with David Attenborough's voice reading the story of Star Wars to the kids, because they can't watch it on a DVD because those are gone forever now.
Unless you get the pirated versions.
Exactly.
Hey, I went to Best Buy just recently.
Yeah.
Which I had told you guys they were getting rid of the movies, but I had no idea that meant they were really, really getting rid of all the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster 2.0.
Yep.
He gone.
It's crazy.
Wayne,
didn't
I
even
don't-
have Oppenheimer. That movie just came out.
like all these are DVDs of everything Star Wars behind me, right? Like I've got every hard copy that you can have. I feel so empty that I don't have the ones of other series that have been out because they don't make them. I mean, yes, I could go get them pirated. I'm not going to do that, Lucasfilm. I don't want to get in trouble. I've already
Call
broken
your
enough
lawyer right
rules.
now.
That's right. FBI will show up at my door tomorrow.
That's right. This is monitored.
Add Rebel Moon to your docket though, and watch
Okay.
it knowing that it was supposed to be a Star Wars movie. Because in my opinion, I did not personally enjoy the movie. There was a lot of hype around that movie. What is the for, Brent?
It took me 4 days to watch that movie.
I have not finished it yet because I keep
Oh.
falling asleep there's one scene towards the end where there's a decent battle, and somehow I wake up the next day just like I can't finish this freaking movie.
You guys are not selling it. I'm just telling you right now. I mean,
I don't know
marketing
why he told you to
people.
watch it.
Because there was here's the thing is like the Zack Snyder thing is like a hype that I've never been able to understand. It as like a fan of movies and a fan of like nerddom and stuff like that. Like 300 was a good movie because it hit right when it came out.
Mhm.
But
Yes,
I
it
feel like
did.
Zack Snyder's been on this like pedestal because of 300. And it's like, how many DC movies did he direct? And they literally took all of that stuff and threw it out. And I'm
Yeah.
not trying to take anything away. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't watch a lot of DC stuff. So I'm speaking kind of like, I don't fully understand what I'm talking about right now. Zack Snyder might be better than I know. I don't watch a lot of his movies because when I watch some of his movies, I'm like, I don't see it. And I fall asleep. Like
I never watched the extended cut.
That's what I was
Of
going to
the
say.
Justice
that one was
League?
actually pretty good.
I've
And
It was
only
a lot
watched
better.
it.
and
I don't
he
like
It
had
was
it.
a lot better.
And this
Okay.
dude came out before the day Rebel Moon releases and says that Netflix chopped it down to be a PG-13, and he said that his cut is better than the movie that's coming out, like AKA Snyder Cut Round 2.
That's how you make the money.
But is that going to be his thing from now on, though? Is it's like, hey, I directed the movie, but what you guys are going to go pay to see, it's not as good as my cut that's going to come out 2 years later that we're going to cook up all this hype for.
He already got paid, though. Here's the thing. He doesn't make any box office off that. He's not getting any points on the box office sales. It's going to Netflix. He doesn't care. He just wants to make his next movie, like Alfie said.
Yeah.
I think that's a marketing ploy.
Did you see the Star
And
Wars
I mean,
like
it's just
relations
with
in it?
the Justice League, he gets a double dip there. If they eventually cave and then re-release it, get paid again.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And he doesn't have to do any more work.
Okay.
Did you notice, Brent, though, that like almost like the Star Destroyer type ships they had in that movie had the force field where you go to land in it and everything? Like there was a lot of similarities to Star Wars in it and to the Empire.
Yeah, there's also I'm the nerd that plays Legion. There's also a lot of players that play this game called Warhammer 40K.
Yes.
And I brought it up in a room full of guys playing Warhammer 40K, and I was like, "Have you seen Rebel Moon?" Because when they're firing the weapons look like 40K weapons. When they're firing the blasters, all I was gonna say was like, and like around the room, as soon as they heard it, they're like, "Oh, you mean the 40K movie that's not 40K? Oh, you mean the movie that like totally is not a ripoff of 40 Warhammer? You mean
Wow.
you mean the movie that like was supposed to be something else and is like actually a Warhammer ripoff?"
And Brent, what do we say to that?
I said, "Yes, it is." Like, I mean, that was
New ideas are
oh
hard.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
No, but like all I wanted to say was like the weapons, and I think it was a good idea. I was like, those weapons look like 40K weapons. It was cool to see those in real life and actually like how somebody would actually fire and how they would actually hit.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of this like somebody said online, it's a fever dream. It's some sort of drug-induced fever dream of Star Wars and Warhammer blended together.
And
The
and
only
like
thing
the
that-
Avengers almost too. The way they
Yeah,
assembled
well,
the
it was like a
heroes.
D&D thing. It was like it was like a Fellowship of the Ring. Like she went through and just tried to collect her heroes, and she was
Yeah.
putting into assembling her hero force.
Yeah,
kind of a la like a Rebels. Like it was kind of like how Hera went through and collected and built the Rebel crew, is how she was going through the world collecting all of these different pieces to help her out. And the only thing that really, I think, to me, tied it to Star Wars was there was one character that had light blades. That was it.
Yeah. The ship. My mind always goes to the ships, and it comes and it goes full circle to this genre, and it's Star Wars in its own league versus sci-fi or whatever. And Rebel Moon is like sci-fi fantasy soup essentially. It's just everything mixed together, and there was some scenes where I was interested in it. I think the guy who plays the villain is a good actor. It's the guy who played the villain in the first Deadpool movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
How's he doing?
What's that?
I said, how's he doing?
I think he's doing all right. I mean, he played
I like
a
him
good
in
role.
Deadpool.
He played a good role in it.
Francis?
It's just like, as far as like the main characters, there's bounty hunters in it. It's like they just have a different way of freezing the people rather than putting them in carbonite. They just kind of lock into these. There's so many similarities.
This is Wayne's first appearance on Rule the Galaxy. He just got introduced to one of my sayings that new ideas are hard, and should we let him in on the second one?
I'm intrigued. Please tell me.
Cocaine's expensive.
Cocaine's expensive. Cocaine ain't cheap.
So funny thing about that. I use an analogy all the time. If I have an idea, it's good only if I have someone to give it to. If I had a bag of cocaine worth $1 million, it wouldn't be worth $1 million. I don't even know who to sell it to.
Well,
So,
we are
Alfie,
not
you're
promoting
right.
cocaine
It's
use,
hard.
by the way, on the show. That is
No, we're not promoting that in any
Rule
way.
the
It's just a
Galaxy
joke.
is not-
Everybody needs a payday. That's what
Yes.
they're going
But
for.
go watch the
payday.
movie Heat. It's really good, kids.
Ooh,
Oh, the movie Heat is amazing.
That's on my
I was
list.
just thinking about that movie the other day. We keep talking about The Godfather and all these
Yep.
great movies. Like a movie like Heat, will we ever see a movie that great again?
The sound when they have the fire scene, when they are shooting at each other, the sound on the
Yes.
stereo is unreal. You're there.
Yeah, that scene is still shown at like West Point during
As
training?
a tactical thing?
Really?
as a
Wow.
tactical. What do you say? My mind just went blank. Like cover
Skirmish?
and move. Yeah, they still watch that scene.
Yeah. It's a great movie. That's another great movie back in the past.
Wayne, we also have some other things we go back to on the show quite a bit. If you've got a bit that works, you stick with it. So,
Drive it into
One-
the ground.
yep, that's right. Just beat that horse until.
That's right. You guys can't have any other chips in this cookie. I'm the first one. Maybe I don't even know that, and I don't want any more. Y'all can have some butterscotch.
Oh
One chip.
gosh. Okay. So first of all, do you remember the phrase that flicks my bick?
oh my God, Joe.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
Wayne, do you know this?
Come
no.
on. Like a
Thank
lighter,
you.
it flicks your
Yeah,
bick.
like the big lighter. Okay.
Okay. Well,
That really
That's-
flicks my big. Joe just dropped
I-
that one day in the middle of like.
It was my
talking
first
about something.
episode.
yep.
Just talking randomly, he's just like, "Oh man, that really flicks my bick."
And
I was
people
like,
were like, "What did
That's
you
not
just?"
PG-13 if you say it
No,
like
it's
that.
not. No, it's not. You got to be careful. You got to be
So-
careful with a "buh" sound.
That is
"Buh"
that
can
is
really sound
something.
like a "duh" sound.
Yeah. And we like to be hip. We like to be with the cool kids these days. So
Be hip.
We got
every
Riz.
now and
Hip,
then,
and we're talking about flicking your bick, which was
Every
like
now
a
and then-
1950s.
we like to talk, about how the show's lit. No cap.
You
it's,
guys been on here for an hour. There has been not a single bruh thrown out there. So we are not hip. We old as hell.
Look,
We're
look,
bussing.
Oh
Bussing.
my God. Oh,
yeah.
My 4-year-old calls me bra all the time. So
That's
Say,
I try
right.
not
man.
to use it.
That's like the new thing is bruh with these
I
young
hate
kids.
oh
I
my
hate
God.
it.
You
Hey,
guys
bro,
are
can you get me a
just-
drink?
Stop.
Man, I'm 32 and I just said with these young kids.
Stop.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely dead.
Stop. I hear this slang all the time. You guys are about 4 years behind where it's at right now.
That's
Because
why
it
I
goes
love it
broke.
because it
That's-
drives my teenagers crazy. Like when I tell them
Because-
the dog water, they hate that.
So
yeah, that is so.
This
old.
show
Nobody
is not
says that
mid
anymore.
either.
So
His show is not mid.
Like
No.
real quick, you got if
Got Riz.
oh, there we go. You went with the Riz, and then you got Gyat too. Gyat's another one for the teenagers. That's
Chat.
basically junk in the trunk. So Gyat.
Oh,
So
Okay.
you gotta. She's
I
got
know
a
what that
Gyat
means.
trying to. It's like for the Rizzler, shaking your Gyat for the Rizzler.
Okay. All right.
All
I
right.
had to look
I'm
that
gonna
one
give you
up.
a
I was
little
rather
insight
surprised
here.
by what it meant.
What
If you
Gyat?
guys have a show and you're talking about the words that you're not sure about, you're too old. If you got to talk about it, they left you already.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right, so
this
so
is a fun thing.
Joe
So-
Joe brings up these random slang things. I'm gonna bring up a question that it always comes up. So
Yep.
this is a question that we ask the guests for the first timers. It's our first timers question. So Joe was just pulling up his lightsaber. You missed it before. D-Doc and Azalea just got the Rey golden lightsaber from the last movie. With all
There
of
it
that
is.
being said, there are different lightsaber hilts in the Star Wars universe.
Very nice show. Oh, look at
Is there a specific Star Wars hilt that
Handle.
you have a handle that you have a proclivity to? Ooh, big word there. Is
Why
there
you
one
got
that like
big
you think
words?
is like? Is there one that like you like the best? While you're
Oh.
thinking about that, is there a hilt that like stands out as like the best hilt in Star Wars? This
Define
comes
guilt.
the handle
A handle.
Okay.
to make the
okay.
handle. This
Okay.
comes from your best friend over there. His brother was making fun of Count Dooku,
Yeah,
and
because it has Peronis.
because it's got a curve, it's got a little bit of a curve to it.
PG-13.
It's
Well,
after 10.
Peroni's
It's
like-
after
like-
dark.
You got look.
It's
Here's the
after
deal.
dark.
You
yeah.
got to be 40 or over to know what Peroni's actually is. And if you don't,
I
you're
don't
gonna
know
go
what
look
that
it up.
is. What is
Exactly. I
What
said
did
you gotta
say?
I said you got to be 40 or over to know what that is. D-Doc, you're not 40 yet.
You'll know if you got it. There's a new Captain Hook on the ship.
Just when you go to the bathroom, you have to stand at the wrong stall. That's what it is.
Oh, God.
So, Tony was making fun of the curved lightsaber hilt, the handle that Count Dooku has, because he said he was down at Galaxy's Edge, and no one would want to mess with that lightsaber handle.
Mhm.
And I was like, I had to stand up for my boy Count Dooku, and then they were like, "Who? What? Stumpy?" They should just nickname him Stumpy because he got all of his hands and head cut off, so he should just be nicknamed Stumpy. So
Well, you
this
can
has
do-
been a hit. The hilt, your favorite Star Wars hilt, has been a question that I have asked guests when I've been on, and we've asked every first
Okay.
timer: is there a Star Wars handle that like you like the best?
That's easy, and it did. There's a two-part answer to that question, but the first Stumpy was Darth Vader. Come on now, he was looking
He-
like one of
Okay,
the
but
nice-
Yes.
you didn't know he was Stumpy though until like 1999.
Well, fair enough, but I knew before the other guy became Stumpy. I mean,
True, and Luke was Luke was the first one to actually lose.
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
was the first Stumpy, right? Luke
Yeah,
was
he's
the
a
first.
nub. That's not a
on-
Stump.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
nub.
it's
He's a-
nubbin. All right, we can call him nubbin. All right.
There it is. That's where
Um,
OJ got the phrase. If it doesn't fit, he must have quit.
Oh.
I quit. I'm out of here. I'm sorry.
No, we got OJ
Fantastic.
reference tonight.
The answer to the question is it used to be the original saber that was good. It's going to be one of two, Ben Kenobi or Luke Skywalker. Those two sabers right there are, they hold the hope.
Mm-hmm.
That is the force. That is going to beat bad. Until Mando came around and I saw that black saber, I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah, that's badass.
Oh my!
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
get that in the store. I don't even know what that is.
You can
Show
now.
it to me again. Well, I'm sure you can now, but that's a badass saber right there.
It
Sorry, my
is.
French.
The dark saber is solid. And it's not. It's like the only one. It's like flat. It's the only one that really doesn't
It's
have
a blade.
like it's
Yeah.
like the actual
Yeah.
handle of it is like flattened. So it does have. It is definitely distinct in all of its.
I
I like
feel like
that
it's got kind of like a samurai sword handle to it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
isn't with the thin.
Yeah,
flat
it's
handle?
square. We have
more of a
one. and
katana.
It's very square.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer, Wayne. I appreciate you bringing that, both the old school and the new, bringing it together. So.
It changed. It literally changed once I saw it. And I was like, wow, there you go.
And another question that Joe usually asks, but I'm going to ask it as well, is what is your go-to Star Wars? So is there one that like you would call your Star Wars movie? Is there one that you go back to? I wouldn't say that it's like favorite, but is there, or it could be shows, anything. What would you call your Star Wars that you are most attached to?
Like you
It's
can
the-
flip it on and feel most comfortable with it right
It's-
there. Just go.
Yeah, it's the first one that came out in '77, but it's real close to the second one. Empire Strikes Back, and both of those two, if they're on TV, it's one of those things I can't turn it off, or I'm late to something because I'm watching it. But those two, I always watch, and I always see something else. I'm like, God dang it, I didn't see that before.
That's good. It's good go backs right there. Attack.
Travis
Here we
is
go.
still with
Travis.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mace's got
Mace?
a great saber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
well, a few of them. Yeah,
Oh,
We just lost Wayne. We brought up Mace and Wayne dropped off.
Wayne is in.
Wayne is back.
He's back.
D-Doc!
I went to go get my saber, and then I came back. Sorry, it was locked
It's
up
okay.
though. I couldn't get
It's
it
locked
out.
up.
It has a passcode, myself and another person has to
Right,
get
you can forget about it.
in order
The
to get it out.
fingerprint.
If you're watching on YouTube, D-Doc left the screen also for a little bit. I think he went to go look up what Peyronie's disease is.
Oh,
Oh
stop.
gosh.
Did you click on Google Images?
Yeah. Do not bring that up on the live. Do not bring up the picture.
Every
on
time I
live
turn my head, I have the curved saber sitting there, man. He doesn't like it when you guys talk shit on it either.
stream. Wayne, if there was a Star Wars action figure that I could buy for you that you would have either on your desk or on something in the house and display, what one would you want? What character?
All right, this answer comes just from within this week of watching various Instagram, TikTok thingies. Check this one out. If any one of you have the gold CP3O Lego, that's worth a lot of money. I want
Dude.
that. I want that.
Okay.
Are you
Is that one of
Lego
the
guy?
helmets?
No,
Well,
there
is
was
that-
one special edition. There was
Yeah.
one special edition 3PO that went around, man, and that thing is worth a pretty
A
penny.
lot
There
of
was only
money.
a couple of them made, really.
I had no idea. But
So
there's
it's a
few of 'em.
minifigure?
Yeah,
it's
just
a
a minifigure.
It's a Lego figure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That's my
But-
favorite character.
It is a special, it's. I think it's a metallic gold
So
one.
it's a
though.
shiny
Gotcha.
gold.
Yeah,
it's not,
shiny,
just like it's
absolutely.
not like the yellow C3POs you see all over the place. It's got a little
Yeah.
shine to it.
And
Okay.
there's a few Lego characters, special edition Legos that are out there that are worth a lot of money. And I didn't know that till this week.
Yeah, I only have. There's one that I have that I know that's worth money, and it's just because it only came in one set, and it's K2SO. He only came in one set. He came in Krennic's shuttle, and people will pay a decent price for that. I remember when I Lego collectors. I love ships. I love to build the ships. The minifigures are always like the accessory to the ship for me. There are Lego collectors that will buy the set, pull the minifigure out, and then just sell the ship on its own because they don't even care.
see
They
that
just
a lot.
want the minifigure.
To go,
I bought a guy's collection, and I was selling them off piece by piece of the things I wanted to keep or give to people or whatever. And everybody would say, "I just want the minifigs out of the ship.
Oh,
I'll buy the minifigs."
Yeah, there's
So-
K2. He's
to go back and bring it back. Miles Turner on
Nice.
his show or on his piece that I saw has about 150 just minifigs, and he had a whole he had a little shelf. It was 3 shelves long, and it was probably 2 feet long, and it was just the Jedi minifigs that he had collected. So there was a ton of those Jedi ones, but it was really cool.
yeah, that's
And-
where people get hung up on Lego sets. Is they're just it all depends on how many minifigs come with it. Which they recently did the Yavin base, which comes with 12. And people were shooting themselves about that just because it was
I'm actually saving my work points for that one. I'm hoping it stays on the site for a while. I'm 2,000 away from getting it.
yeah, that comes with pretty much every Star Wars minifig you could want, honestly.
Wayne, if you didn't know, Alfie works at Chuck E. Cheese, so he saves kids tickets, and
I
that's
ta- I
where
save
he's-
them all. I take your receipts.
Well, you know what? I
I'm
don't care
just
what
kidding.
you do. If you work at Chuck E. Cheese, bless your heart.
That's
That's a hard job. It's not pee everywhere and some
no.
bad pizza. Oh God.
Chuck E. Cheese is when I first finally got COVID. That's when we were just like, oh shit, this is real. Because I remember we went to Chuck E.
Oh,
Cheese and it was like
gosh.
a day or two later, we were all just down for the count.
I took the little one there last week, and
Oh.
I was praying we didn't get sick. Thankfully,
Oh.
there was almost no one in there.
I haven't been back since.
I don't know how it's still open. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Long John Silver's. How is that still open?
Mm.
That malt vinegar.
Oh God.
Ooh.
The little crunchies.
The last 2 times I've eaten
hush
Long John
puppies.
Silver's, and it's been years, but the last 2 times I did, sick
Yeah.
as could be.
It's like White Castle. It's like
I
a
will-
once a
I was
year
going to
thing.
say that.
Once
I
a year.
will eat gas station cheeseburgers and hot dogs before I eat Long John Silver's.
That's I was listening to these guys today, and Joey
Yes.
said he rang in the new year ordering a crave case of White
The
Castle.
sliders.
Oh, ex
It
condition.
always sounds so
I was
good
with it.
until about 20 minutes after you eat it.
Yeah, so
Oh.
I was with them. So it was a family New Year's because we didn't get to do. We were going to do a family sleepover around Christmas, but the little ones were under the weather. They'd improved. We did a family New Year's. We're all sitting there, and at like 8:00, Joey goes, "You know what? Let's ring this in with a crave case." And I looked, and I was like, "Absolutely not." And his mom hates White Castles. Sure enough, they show up,
Oh,
and he and Greg each eat like 7 or 8 of them. Now there's 30 in there, so the smell of them just being in the house with another, 15 of them still in the box, it was rancid. He said he and Greg were not doing well the next day. No. But
just go
D-Doc,
straight to the X-Lax. Why you half stepping? Just go take the chocolate and call it a day.
Yeah. Don't even eat them. You just might as well just take them out of the container and throw them straight in the toilet.
I love White Castle burgers, man. I never had one around me, so I would get the microwavable White Castle burgers.
Oh,
And I would eat them all the time, dude. I love those. I love the microwave White Castle burger.
D-Doc, you need to pull up Michael Nip's comment because it might win the day. It might win the internet today.
White Castle scented candle. There you go.
I like it.
I think
Michael.
Wayne's on the order. Like he's calling up Amazon saying, when can I get
Michael.
this? Going to the White Barn or whatever.
oh gosh,
There's
no,
people
no,
who
no.
get White Castle and people who don't, man. I'm telling you.
I'm a don't.
Look.
I love it.
The only time I was really into White Castle was when you used to be out at 2 or 3 in the morning. You had nothing to eat. You had a few too many drinks in you, and you went to White Castle.
Pizza Express.
Just
Then-
go ahead and speed up the process.
That's
no,
right.
get the fish sandwich. The fish sandwich isn't bad.
Oh no! Now we got.
Oh, it's going worse. Like
it's going
my
bad.
My stomach is turning with Travis over there.
Travis.
Let's try to bring this back a little bit.
Yeah.
Can
Come
can
on.
we bring it onto a track?
Yeah, let's bring it back.
Do we have any topics, Joe? Can we
Yeah,
get away from
Wayne-
the scented candles and the
Wayne,
scented
we've talked a
urinal
little
cakes?
bit. We've talked a little bit about everything with Star Wars with you. Is there? Gosh.
That was great.
I'm sure White
That was
Castle did
good.
some kind of Star Wars promotion at one point, So this is probably on
Yeah.
point for Star Wars topic,
I don't know if White Castle did or not, but
They probably didn't actually. That was
anyway,
topic.
so we have we've seen plenty of cosplay in Star Wars over the past few years, and one of our listeners has asked us to rank our top 10 cosplay people, which can be dangerous if you're not talking about a stormtrooper or a Boba Fett or something. There's some people out there who cosplay in some different ways.
It's a little saucy.
It's a little, risque. Is there any character that you would like to see live in person, up close, whether it's cosplay or the real character from Star Wars?
Oh, wow. Gee, there's so many characters. I gotta get down to Disney. Actually, is it gone already? Did they
No.
tear down the Star Wars?
No, they just shut the hotel part of it down.
Okay.
We were just there, Galaxy's Edge. November. When did we go, D-Doc?
It was December. It was
Yeah,
a little
okay.
bit before Christmas.
Yeah, I saw your
Yeah.
Before
pictures.
Christmas.
No, I honestly the player that or the character that really intrigues me the most, but I think the guy passed away was Chewbacca, right?
Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would have liked to have actually just not met Chewbacca, but met the person who played
Peter
Chewbacca.
Mayhew. Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him.
Oh,
Alfred, yeah.
look at you
Yes.
throwing out, dropping dimes. Look at you.
Yeah.
Tell a story.
Actually, Joseph and I went.
I
No,
wasn't there.
I went with
You-
my brother to Celebration 3. We went to Celebration 2 together.
too. Yeah.
And, at the convention center downtown, the big room, was all vendors, Kenner, stuff like that. But there was a small part that was like what I would call like a swap meet or kind of, people selling actual Star Wars toys from their collections or people who do that for a living, whatever, right? So, granted, this is the early internet days, dial up, not everyone really had internet at that time. So it probably wasn't that big of a deal to not notice someone, that was in a costume all the time, right? But so I'm walking around these booths and I see this guy sitting in, a lawn chair in the middle of all this crowd. And he's gigantic sitting down. Right. And I look at him and I'm like, damn, that's Peter Mayhew. This is crazy. And I looked at him, he looked at me, he smiled and then put his finger to his lips. I kind of gave him a head nod and went on our way.
Wow.
A lot of respect for you for respecting him.
Yeah.
to,
He's
blow it
just
up.
sitting there. Yeah. Nobody knew who he was, out of costume and sitting down. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And actually,
wild.
the last ICCC we were at, I talked to some people that still run his foundation, and they
Mhm.
said that was one of his favorite things to do was, since he wasn't recognizable, was just to go be out in the middle of, crowds of people and watch everybody interact and love Star Wars.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very cool. I used to think that it would be Mark Hamill or Harrison Ford I wanted to meet, but after thinking about it, after listening, because I did the audiobook by Anthony Daniels called I Am C-3PO, that dude's seen it all. He's been a part of it all. He's been from the beginning to the 40 whatever years he's been doing this, and the stories he can tell. I think I would jump at the chance to sit down with Anthony Daniels.
I met him the same day, actually. I know it sounds unbelievable. You're not going to believe it.
Okay, but here's the deal. Like this one, he's told this story before. Anthony wasn't in a place to be met. He wasn't in a mental
no.
state
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
one.
okay.
Go
It
ahead,
was
tell
a-
the story.
It started to get a little. I kid you not. This is the same day. Okay, this is the morning. Oh, my clocks are going to go off here in a second.
That's all right.
Celebration 3. We're going to downtown Indianapolis. We pull into the parking garage. We're standing there getting our passes on right next to the car, right? And this other car pulls up, which there's thousands of people downtown. So, it's no big deal. Car pulls up, but this guy gets out and gets in the trunk. And I'm looking at him like, that's fucking C-3PO. And
How do you know?
and so, he was nice. He said hi. I didn't really bother him or anything, because I was just shocked. We're in the middle of a parking garage and there's C-3PO getting out of a Honda Civic, and going. So you could tell like he really didn't want to be messed with or anything. So again, just leave him alone. He hurries through the garage. He goes into the tunnel to get into the convention center. There's a whole line of, 50, 75 people waiting to get in because that really wasn't the way you were supposed to get into the convention. But anyways, he goes to the door and it's locked.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and he turns around, and by that time, everyone knows who it is. And you could just see this kind of like panic setting in on his face. Like, this could kind of go south real fast if, these people get out of hand. But again, everybody played it cool. Started doing the Ewok chant and bowing down to him and stuff, and he laughed it off.
Hey Wayne, real quick, if you want, look in your calendar for 2024. Start planning ahead. It's not even over the top crazy, and it's not over the top expensive or anything like that. but there's a thing called the ICCC. It's in Nashville. This year it's October 3rd through 6th, I believe. But we've gone the last few years and met up there and all that. And between the people they have there, like people who are either in TV shows or movies or all those kind of things, the collectibles that are there, the speakers, the cosplay, it's a fantastic weekend. It just really is. So put it, and I'm sure you and Emily would love to go take a weekend in Nashville. So
we want to go anywhere and everywhere. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. So just pencil that and look and see what your schedule looks like, because I think you'd really have a good time, and it would bring back a ton of memories, because it's new stuff, but it's also just tons of old stuff where you're like, oh my gosh, I had that, or oh my gosh, I always wanted that, and things like that. So, and the guy who runs it's a really great guy and treats us really well. So when we usually do a live show from there, actually last year there, I got to meet the Emperor, Ian McDermott, and I got to meet Femi Taylor, Ula, the dancing girl who fell down into the Sarlacc pit in Jabba's palace. We did a show with her where we got to interview her and take pictures with her and everything. She was great. So yeah, it was a good fun time. But that's the kind of people who are at these events. So
very nice.
Want to check it out. But
first weekend in October.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I'm like down with that date, man. Like it's such a non-stressful date to be like, okay, first weekend in October, I'm going to go to Nashville. Like that's easy.
It's
like,
an awful date. Absolutely awful.
It's
a bad
middle
one.
Of football.
We're actually supposed to go to Jamaica that week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you're canceling that, right, Alfie?
No, he's calling me
Priorities,
from
Alfie,
Jamaica.
Priorities.
I'm not making it definitive we're going or not, because we're supposed to go there for a wedding, and I don't know.
Oh, you're gone.
Okay.
Have a nice
Well,
day.
hey, we've been keeping Wayne a long time. He's got to get up and go to real work and everything in the morning. So
what's this bullshit? I get up at 5:30 every day.
I just opened up a pack of Star Wars cards and started chewing some gum, so I'm good for the night.
That's what I'm talking about, Wayne. That's what I'm talking about.
I was gonna say let's go around. I was gonna say anybody. I always monopolize the topics. Anybody have a topic or anything they want to hit before
Absolutely
we end
no.
up?
We're not going to talk about the
No, we're
rain.
not
gonna talk about it.
No, we're not gonna
I'm so
talk
angry
about it.
about that. I don't want to talk about it. I'll
Is
say
it-
things that I regret.
Is it worth it, D-Doc? I mean, is it what the people want to hear? Maybe, but is it worth it?
Eh,
I don't know.
See, we're leaving
We're
on a happy
fine.
note, D-Doc.
We're
We're
fine.
I
happy
can't talk
right
about
now.
that without saying things that
We're happy
I
right
shouldn't
now.
say.
Like we're all friends right now. Like, are you really wanting to like?
well, here's what I would do: is I
Uh-oh.
would sit here, and I would probably like eviscerate Disney a little bit, and
Yeah.
like their line of thinking, and then the podcast would end, and then I would go upstairs and start building the Disney castle that that I was just given for Christmas. So it's like I always think about what I say on this podcast and then what my wallet says. It's
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
it's like I say one thing, but my wallet does the opposite.
and
Yeah.
and they don't care what you say with your mouth. The corporation doesn't care what you say with your mouth.
They do not.
I don't know. With this one, it might be a little different. This one might be built different with this early stuff going on with it. I just don't. Here's what I'll say. I don't think she's going to wind up directing the movie. That's all I'll say.
I don't think the movie's gonna get made.
no.
This
I don't
is
think
their,
it is either.
this is they're pushing out the press on this one.
They're
And-
pushing out the press, but I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to give any opinions whatsoever. I'm just going to give you facts. They are still using that script that Lindenhoff turned in that he said was a piece of dog shit, and he turned in his credentials with it. That's the best that they got. So I do not hold any weight to that this movie gets made.
You know what? I'm not. I'll just cut it even shorter. We won't go any further on it. We've done enough. But we do speak with our wallets and not with our mouths. Our mouths are just throwing stuff out there, but we still go spend the money. I have a feeling if a Star Wars movie is made, this group right here will go see it. no
I'll
matter
be
what's
seated.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
so-
be seated.
Yeah, end of story on that. So,
Right?
yep. Any other topics that we need to hit? Anybody? I don't want to take anything away. Alfie, D-Doc, you guys just got, which one of you just bought some $6 figures at Ollie's?
I got Palpatine Black Series at Ollie's for $6.
I got a
Score.
Ahsoka Tano for $3.99 at Ross.
There we go.
Ross.
Dude,
Yeah.
you're telling me I got to start going to Ross now?
Dude, there was somebody else on social media that had like a picture of like 25 Black Series at Ross.
Yep.
Yeah,
I saw that.
it's hit or miss, and I can't. I
Marshalls,
mean,
Ross,
nothing negative
TJ
in
Maxx.
what I'm
Mhm.
about to say, but I suffer from extreme anxiety, and I cannot handle that store.
Ross.
Well, Ross is probably loaded.
Oh.
There's probably stuff on the shelves everywhere. And this is
There's
the
no
worst part.
aisles in the store.
He's talking about organization.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
stresses me the fuck out to go in there.
You're not meant to be in there. You got to
No.
send somebody in for you. Hey,
Dude,
kid,
that's-
here's $5. Go look for.
I went to the-
Do the National Treasure.
Yes.
Bring back the cipher. Go find this letter for me.
When I found that Princess Leia there, I seriously was standing in line and I was having a panic attack because I could not figure out where you were supposed to go. And there's just people everywhere. There's stuff thrown everywhere. There's no aisles. And I was sweating. I couldn't hardly catch my breath. Like, I'm going to pass out in this fucking store.
But you made it.
Over a $5 Black Series.
You
figure.
made it.
Yes.
You
This
haven't
is
made
the
it to
hardest part for me as running for now a year. I've been working for myself now. As people know here, I'm a plumber and I'm a handyman. I do renovations. I do all this stuff. The hardest thing for me running this business is I randomly have to go out to buy material. And a lot of times there's a Target near there. There's like I was sending you guys those pictures today. I was working today and I'm sending you pictures from Ollie's and Target while I'm working because it's like, hey, I got to run out.
No, D-Doc. No one has to know.
I know, but I
My wife took Inslee to basketball practice or volleyball practice in Columbus today, which is outside of our regular route. So she went to Target because Azalea's birthday's Sunday to pick something up real quick. And I was like, hey, could you just send me some pictures of the Black Series figures?
That's why I'm stressed that I need to add Ross to my list now. If I'm working in some area where there's a Home Depot and a Ross near each other, I'm going to go into Ross now.
I got one more for you. I'm sorry,
Mhm.
fellas, but I picked up some things that I've given to people, and they might not be collectible, but they got stuff. Watch out for Michaels. They got Star Wars stuff.
Mm.
Oh, I can't go into Michael's just for that reason.
I'm sorry.
They got some good
I
stuff
went there
in
one time with my wife, and she's like, "You're never coming back to the store."
Dr. Squatch coming in with the Ross and saying it's crazy in there.
Yeah,
Right.
Squatch from the top rope. He's always here. Dr. Squatch is
Always
in,
watching.
man. He's
Oh,
got the clone
God.
trooper helmet. He's got the Wookiee head, and he's got the doctor outfit on, baby.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, hey, fellas, this is good. We got some good fun laughs in. My head's hurting a little bit because I've been laughing so hard. That's a good thing. I always like that. My wife always says, when you leave someplace and you got a headache because you've been laughing, that means you had a good time. So obviously I don't drink, or the headache might be gone until the next morning, but that's another story for another time. Guys, thanks for always doing this. Wayne, thanks for coming on and being a guest. I mean, yeah, after 40 years of friendship, it's good that we can hop on a podcast together and talk a little Star Wars and hear your points of view. And man, I can't wait till you're cosplaying down in ICC in Nashville this year. That's going to be awesome.
That'll be something.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. It's really nice to meet you guys if I haven't met you before. And again, you guys are a testament to what you guys do over a long period of time with the people that follow you. And like you were talking about earlier, the wallet says what it says. So keep doing what you guys are doing. Have me on again, please, and I will bring some interesting things maybe to talk about. I got some ideas, some things that I have in my little collection, and it'd be great to do this again in sometime in the near future. I appreciate you guys.
No problem, guys. D-Doc, Alfie, Brent, Wayne, thank you so much for all of our followers and listeners, all the people commenting tonight have been great. We've actually had like 5 or 10 new YouTube subscribers while we've been on tonight. So thank you to those of you who are doing that.
2024 is going to be our year.
That's right. Be
To
lit.
the moon.
Lit.
To the moon.
Lit.
All right.
No cap.
God,
No cap.
Oh my God.
Until next week, may the force be with you.
All right.